So you've been doing some Amazon product research, but you might be wondering, how do I know if this is a good product to sell or not? Well, in today's video, I'm joined with Carrie Miller from Helium 10, and we're going to go over how to validate your Amazon product ideas. I found a potential product using Helium 10's product research tool called Blackbox, and Carrie is going to take us through her process on how she validates products. And real quick before we get into the video, I'm currently running a $50 Amazon gift card giveaway, and I'm counting entries from this video and this video here. So to enter, all you have to do is give the video a like, subscribe to my channel, and comment down below one thing that you learned from today's video. So good luck, and let's get into the tutorial.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and just start talking through how to validate products, and we'll talk through the dog paw pads, and then we'll look at some keywords and just ways to validate and make sure that it's a good product to sell. It's not too competitive. Sounds Let's go ahead and I'll share my screen. Okay, so I already chose dog paw pads. Were there other keywords that you used to find it? You said dog sticky something.
Yeah, maybe. Dog paw pads was, I think, the main one I was kind of seeing.
Okay, for traction.
Yeah.
The one. So what's cool about the Xray is you can see kind of search trends and search volumes. So let's just try this one. I think you said sticky paw paws for dogs, right?
Yeah.
That was one of them. So sticky paws for dogs. So I usually like to take a look at a few different keywords just to see what we're looking at. And some keywords might have more competition than others, but what I'll do is I'll pull the extension here. So this is our Helium 10 Xray extension. And this is going to tell us all kinds of great information about, the sales of the product, overall competition. And so I'm going to walk you through how to kind of vet whether or not a product is going to be a good fit. So and these top ones here are sponsored. So I usually just kind of ignore those and I take a look at the next ones, or you can actually edit it so that the sponsored products don't show. I'm trying to think where I do that. I think it's in the settings, but I'll just leave it for now. Okay. So what I always take a look at is I like to take a look at the top listings in here to see, what's going on. So one of the first things I do is I like to look at the seller origin. There's a few reasons why I do this. You can kind of look at it a bunch of different ways. So it looks like most of the sellers of this particular product are selling from China. So that could potentially mean that they're coming direct from the factory. And that makes it harder for us to compete because we are, buying from the factories. So they've got the factory costs and we've got, their costs too. So it kind of makes it hard to compete. And that's why a lot of times you'll see the price point is a lot lower for those sellers. So that's what I'm looking at right here. So the price point is, I think the average is probably like $15 here, which to me, usually I like to find products that are $25 or more, but the only exception that you can make is if this product is really, really cheap to source, like if you can get it for $1 and, sell it for, $15, $16, that's pretty good too. So, it really depends on what the cost of the actual product is. So that's something I always take a look at. I also really like to look at the sales and the revenue. So overall, it looks like it's, quite popular. So 1.5 million every month in total revenue for this keyword, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Average revenue per seller, 35,000. Average price, there's probably some other products in here that are making this go a little bit higher. So these these numbers reflect what's on this page. So we'll take a look at that too.
And sellers have a bundle where they're selling multiple sets of the paw pads.
Yeah, that's probably, And bundles are a really good idea to, get the price point up, especially. So, you could get to the $25 mark if you wanted to, if you just bundle a few together, that's a really great way to do that. So revenue here, it's looking good. I mean, there's a good amount of revenue that's coming from, there's a lot of sales. So there's definitely demand for it. That's a number one thing that you need to make sure that you find is a product that has demand. The next thing you want to do is you want to look at competition. So if I take a look at the review count, usually in the top 10 listings, there are thousands of reviews, that's going to be a pretty competitive product. However, if you look at this, I'm seeing some kind kind of opportunities here on this keyword, even though, there's thousands of reviews here. There, there is still 11, 45, 200. You could potentially catch up to these people. Now, catching up to these sellers, it's going to be, challenging. So something else to look at is the reviews. The ratings are 3.3. So that's an interesting thing to look at. What I usually like to look at is, why is it a 3.3 or a 3.2? And can I improve this product? Because if you can figure out whatever the issues are and improve upon it, then you can really beat out a lot of competitors just by having a better product. Mm-hmm. So something we can do is I'll open this one in a new tab, and let's see which one is the lower rating. Let's see, the 3.3. Let's open that one in a new tab. And what you can do is, to get more insights, you can pull the review insights button. And what I like to do is I just like to take a look at all the reviews. Okay, so this one says did not, kind of works, kind of doesn't. So it looks like, it's not, maybe they didn't get a chance to use it, or they didn't see any improvements. They didn't stay on very long. So let's see, I wanted this product to work so badly for my dog. My vet suggested trying this out, and it sounded like the answer: our dog's back legs will give out, especially on hardwood floors, and she'll fall. After applying the pads, we did not see any improvements, nor did it stay on too long. So maybe, if you could figure out a way to make them a little bit stickier, or so that they actually stay on or fit better, that could be a potential. Something I'm thinking too is like, what about like a sock with grips on the bottom? I mean, you can think kind of outside the box that way. And this is kind of a way you can come up with better product ideas, is you kind of look through the reviews. I love looking through reviews because it gives you insights on what kind of product you need to make sure to get. So when you're sourcing, you have what the issues are, what from the customer's perspective, and you figure out how to fix them. So that's actually really valuable information, because you don't want to get an entire shipment of all these dog pads and then they have the same issue that all the rest of them do. So I love the review analysis, not only for just vetting a product, but when you actually get the product, you can actually look at what people like, and you can write those into your listing, as well as, benefits of the product. So this is one of my favorite parts of this tool, but not a lot of people use it, but I love to use it for just, what are people like? Are they wanting more colors? Is there a different color that they wanted that's not available? Is there a different kind of there's usually something in the reviews that's going to tell you, okay, they want this, or, they want a bigger size, or the size doesn't work that well, or the colors. So this is, gold when it comes to doing product research, especially when you find the product that you want to focus on. So we have all of that information. When I take a look at the reviews, I mean, it's definitely competitive, but there's still some potential there. So what we can do also is we can look at some of these other keywords. So we've got this keyword, which is, I think the dog paw pads is the same one, sticky paws for dogs. So let's look at this keyword and let's see what we've got here. Okay, a little bit less revenue, but probably some bundling like this one. So it looks like the average price is probably more on point with the, what we were looking at before, like $15 to $20 range. Sales are pretty good. Now you definitely see that the top spots definitely have more sales here. And we take a look over at the, country region. Only if there's a few US sellers that are selling, and then mostly China, but not something that completely deter you, just something to be aware of, that, price is going to be more challenging. Again, we have the same thing, like these reviews are pretty low. Like I would say that you want to keep a 4.5 or above when it comes to your products. So it's really not very common to see such low ratings, which is really good news for opportunity for improvement if you can do that. So I like to see those as an opportunity. And a lot of people sometimes, like, I don't know if you did this on your black box, but they'll search for low ratings so that they can look at, why this product is still selling, even though it has low ratings, and they can fix the issue and then beat out the competitors. So is that kind of what you did?
It is. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. That's a good way to find good products. So this review count is better too. I mean, there's some opportunity. Like this was only 50. This is 29. So, I mean, they're less than 100. You could potentially catch up to these sellers. We can see if they're even making some sales. Looks like they're making about $500 a month. So not really that successful with that many reviews though. So that's something else to think about. But let's go back to the dog pads. And what I also like to do is look at title density. So title density, if you're looking at some of these main keywords or keywords that have, a good amount of sales, you want to see keywords where maybe your competitors are kind of asleep at the wheel and didn't see. So with title density, if most of the sellers have a particular keyword in their title, it's going to be much harder to rank for. So it's going to be a more competitive keyword. I'll show you how to take a look at this. So I'm going to just, let's see, I'm going to just check off some of these kind of higher volume in sales products, and we're going to take a look at them in Cerebro. So this one's pretty good. Even though these are sponsored, I think they've got a good amount of sales here. I like to look at the top sellers. And you can even sort by revenue, so you can see the top sellers. Some of these aren't even sticky pads. It's funny, I've purchased this. Oh, really? It's always fun seeing the, yeah. Oh, here are some socks. These are the anti-slip socks. That's interesting. Okay. I think we got a good amount of, so that's another way. I mean, you can even, so I'm looking through this and I'm thinking people are saying these things don't stick. Well, are the socks better? That might be something that you could kind of look into, or you could look into a bundle of the socks and the sticky pads. Who knows? Depends on what people want. So I'll go ahead and just start with those. I'm going to hit run Cerebro, and it's going to take me to Cerebro, and it'll populate all of those ASINs in here for me. Okay, so all of those ASINs, instead of having to, copy and paste them, now we can just literally import them from Xray. So I love that. So something I like to do is take a look at the title density. So dog paw pads, for example, the search volume is 1,600, and it looks like only 3 of the competitors have that in their actual title, that's actually really good news. And then let's see some of these others, dog nail grips. I don't know if those are different. Yeah, I guess it's the same thing. It's interesting, the different ways that you can find the same product, but that one, I guess that was only 317 search volume. Let's see here. Any other higher search volume? Paw pads for dogs, traction. No one has that in their title. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity here when it comes to like actual title density, especially because this one has the keyword sales here are, 177. So it's one of the higher ranges. You can sort by keyword sales if you want to. This one's 127 keyword sales, and there's no one that has that in their title. So, I mean, you literally could get ranked a lot easier. I mean, that's kind of mind blowing. So paw pads for dogs, no one has that in their title.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And usually what I like to do too is, Aquamax, that must be a competitor, like a brand.
Like a brand name.
Yeah, so you can, target Aquamax. I mean, you can also take a look and see it. Does Aquamax do something better? Why are theirs better? This one has 4 stars. So you can see what it is that they do a little bit better, but let's see here. It's funny because the IQ score, I always mix it up with search volume. Yeah. But yeah, so you can actually, the next thing that you can do too is you can look at conversion rate. So you can now I'm just going to open up my trusty little calculator on my phone. You can take the keyword sales. Now, not every level of Helium 10 has the keyword sales. This is diamond and above. I think it's a really good benefit of diamond to have all of this info. Plus, there's just a lot more info that we're adding all the time. So it helps you to just make some really good decisions. So what you do is you take, so for example, dog paw pads, 177 sales. So I take 177 and divide it by 1,673 and multiply it by 100. And that will give you the conversion rate. So yeah. So that's, I think, hopefully we'll add that into here as one of the columns. And again, that'll probably be diamond, but the conversion rate on here is 10.5%. So that's actually pretty good. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you'll see something with a high search volume, but there's low keyword sales and the conversion is like, 2%. So you really don't want to go for that one as much as maybe something that's, a 3,000 search volume and the conversion could be 20%. So conversion rate is something that you want to look at too, for what keywords do I want to target? And, what's the conversion rate and what's the competition? Can I get myself ranked at the top of that? So that's usually what the next step is really like, okay, I've chosen this product. I really want to do it. I think that there's some opportunity here for me. Now I'm going to look at the keywords and I'm going to see what the conversion rate is. I want to see which keywords I want to actually go after and what I have the potential to rank for. So that way you can kind of get your launch strategy going. You have the keywords you want to rank for, and you can implement that strategy as you start launching that product. So those are the main ways. Something else I also always do, I mean, just to even further vet, is I go to Alibaba and I see kind of what the general price is. So dog paw pads is what I'll search for. So if I look at dog paw pads, I'm not sure if you've done this already, but I always
it
like,
quickly.
okay, yeah. So I like to see, if they have them on here and how much they are. Okay, so see here, these pretty much look like that one big brand, the Aqua one. So we can, click on this and see. I wonder if it's pairs or if it's just per paw pad. Here, that's something to clarify. Is it like per pair or for, because it's 4, so they need 4 of them. So I wonder if it's per, so that's actually kind of expensive per piece. I'm sure you can negotiate that down or find a much better price for these, because otherwise the cost will be like, closer to $4 per unit. Of course, if you buy more, obviously it gets lower, but I would imagine you could get these for a less price. So here, this one's 48, this one, that's kind of high, still 59. So what you can do is just start talking to all these different people and say, hey, can you get, this person's giving me this low price. Can you beat that price? And you can kind of like pitch them against each other and see what they can come up with. So, I mean, I think the price point, I think you can definitely negotiate it down to the point where it would make sense to be able to do this. If you could get it like all 4 for like $1, that would be ideal. And I have a feeling you could probably do that. So
it is a simple product.
Yeah, it's very simple. And it's like, but something, I mean, even just looking at that, I wonder if they can just add more grip there, or even, I really like these. I mean, the idea of the socks might be like just easier for some of the dogs if the others don't stick on, or, how are they sticking on the paws? Can you increase the adhesive on the other side? There's a lot of different things you can, start talking to these factories about to improve upon, to make sure that your ratings, because you don't want to launch a product that has low ratings and people aren't going to buy again. Because obviously I'm pretty sure this is a product, it's going to wear out. So they have to keep buying it, which is actually good. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of really good aspects of this. I think the only thing I'm questioning is just how big is the competition? So something that's kind of cool about having such a kind of lower cost product and a very, very lightweight product, you could ship in a small amount and do a test run. Like, is this going to work out? And you can just see how easy it is to rank for some of these keywords. Is pay-per-click really, really expensive? Is it just not even worth it? So, do a small order of like 100 units and see what happens. I think that's the way I would always recommend doing it, because you don't want to have like, 100,000 units of something that, it didn't work out. But if you test it out and you have confidence that, you can get these things ranked, you can always, airship in more to continue on. And then your next order, you'll just do, by sea. But with this product, you could really just airship it, honestly, I think, because it's so lightweight, it makes more sense to do that to get it quicker. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a pretty cool product, and bundling it for those, the higher price point is a great idea. You could potentially do a subscribe and save. Maybe people could just put it on subscription if they need to keep ordering these.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of opportunity here for this one. So that's kind of how I would look at it. But because of the competition, I would probably do a little bit of a test. That's what I always like to. But demand is what's most important. Demand is where it's at. And sometimes with this kind of product, you can also find a keywords that maybe someone's missing out. Like the nail grips thing. Like, is there a whole community of people who are like, my dog's scratching my floors? How do I prevent that? Is there something that you can cover up their nails, or I don't know what it is, but you can look about all these different angles and how you can position the product. So yeah, so that's how I would vet the product, and that's kind of my methods and my thought process. I do think you did a good job doing some product research with Black Box. So yeah.
Oh, it all the Black Box.
Yeah, Black Box is great. So yeah, do you have any other thoughts or questions?
Well, I really liked your idea of doing the sticky paws grips with the socks and do like 2 products in one, and then you have all these keywords from the 2 products to draw things in.
Yeah. And people might be like, oh, I could use these paw pads in the summer and then the socks in the winter. I don't know,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. But I think, you might even just take a look at the socks too. Are the socks better for just grip? Because they do work. I've actually seen the socks before, and they actually stay on, and unless the dog obviously chews it off, which they'll take off the paw pad too, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. People spend money on their dogs. So
they definitely do. Yeah.
It's like children and dogs, they'll always spend money for those.
Yeah.
All right. Well, any other thoughts about anything that I showed, or any questions maybe you think people might have?
Well, another thing that I thought was interesting was was it called the tidal density?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never looked at that column before, and that one's really interesting.
Yeah. The title is where a lot of the weight comes from in terms of like your indexing and ranking for certain products. So if you have the phrase, the exact phrase in your title, you're much more likely to rank for that, especially when you start converting. So a lot of those competitors, I think, are a little asleep at the wheel. Maybe that's a benefit of the fact that they're from China, because you might have an opportunity to beat them in terms of just like the right keywords.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's pros and cons to both. So I always like to say there's good and bad. I'd say the downfall is just the competitive pricing, So I'm excited. Do you think you might, is this an example, or you think you might want to actually go for it and test it out?
I mean, maybe, like, I'm always looking for more ideas, but I've found just by learning the hard way, sometimes it's better to work on what you already have. So instead of building out more and more products, better to invest in what you already have going. I've done that where I put my eggs in too many baskets, and then it kind of stops your other ones from growing.
That's true.
I always have a bank of ideas back here.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, that is a really good point, because you want to put everything into those products, especially if they're doing well and you're seeing success. Just keep on growing those. Then you can always add in more later, but you have to have the funds for more inventory if you want to do multiple products, and keeping all of it going at once is like all the plates are spinning. And so that's a really good point.
And if you're sea shipping your products, your money is sitting in the ocean technically for 30 to 60 days or whatever. And you have your inventory that you also paid for, like at the warehouse, and maybe a 3PL. And then you have to get your manufacturer going on the next order. And then Christmas is coming. And
that's such a good point to bring up to people, because I don't think people realize that, that there's a lot of juggling and managing along the way of all the different logistics of the whole process. And, you don't want to run out of stock. You got to have the cash flow. And how are you managing that? It's a business, it is really a business.
What's nice about those paw pads is, since they're so small, you can airship them, which is so much faster and easier than sea shipping.
100%. Yeah. Interesting product. Yeah. So I would be interested to see if anyone did it, to see if they were able to beat the competition or not. That's the one question that's always there is it too competitive? I don't know.
You don't know till you try.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's all I have for you today for validating products. So hopefully it was helpful information for you.
Yeah, it was very helpful. I learned some new things today, and I'm sure the viewers did too. So thank you so much for joining today.
Yeah, you're welcome. And yeah, I'll come back anytime.